Hello and welcome to An Post Rebel Tour 2015, which once again takes place on the stunning Beara Peninsula in County Cork. Cycling events of all types have grown in popularity over the years, and Ireland has been inspired to take to two wheels by big events such as the Giro d'Italia and more recently the Gran Fondo in Northern Ireland. Cycling has grown at such a pace that it is now one of the fastest growing sports in all of Ireland.
Cycling is one of those areas that we've seen massive growth. People nowadays are quite happy to take out their bikes and go on a Sunday spin and take their family out and go on a Sunday spin. For example, down here in Beara, there's a group of us. We've started off a Beara cycling club, I think maybe 7 or 8 years ago now, and it's grown to huge numbers now that we have cycling down here in Beara. If you come down here any weekend on the Beara Peninsula and you drive around, you're going to meet hundreds of cyclists in different groups from all around locally, but also visitors to the area. So cycling has really become a great way of life and a great sport and physical activity for everybody, not just for the racers and the Tour de France. We have the Rebel Pedals and the Rebel Tours and stuff, and it's worked out tremendously for us.
A challenge event such as the Rebel Tour allows riders of all ages, sizes and abilities the opportunity to take part in an organised event and experience road cycling without having to take out a racing licence. The challenge is only against your body's limits and the elements, of course.
Just today when we were preparing for our event in the morning, we've had a massive storm. We've had, I suppose, maybe 3 or 4 feet of water falling in some areas, and it's been absolutely horrendous. But as you can see in the background, the sun is starting to shine. Weather tomorrow is really good. Last year we had a lot of our cyclists arriving to the top of the Healy Pass asking our marshals if they had sun cream because they were getting burnt, and this is in September. Now you know the summer we've had here in Ireland for the last number of months, weather has been particularly poor, but tomorrow for the Rebel Tour we're guaranteed good weather as always down on the Beara Peninsula.
Cyclists have arrived from all corners of the island and from further afield to register and sign in. And once again, the event is a sellout.
This year we've closed registration early because we reached our capacity of 2,500 cyclists. And we've had registration for last evening up in the Oriel House in Ballincollig and this evening here in Glengariff. We've 2,500 cyclists plus the family fun event here, which will probably bring that up to over 3,000 people cycling tomorrow in the Rebel Tour.
The longer of the routes is the Rebel Challenge, a 160-kilometre or 100-mile epic which leaves Glengariff and heads out over the Caha Pass through tunnels carved out by the elements and up to 100 metres long, emerging for a brief sojourn into neighbouring County Kerry, heading back to Cork via the daunting challenge that is the Healy Pass. The 160-kilometre course describes a figure of 8 around the Beara Peninsula, which means they go over the Healy Pass on 2 separate occasions, a famous climb in the annals of Irish cycling and a significant challenge for tired limbs the second time up before the riders make their way back to Glengariff. The 85-kilometre Rebel Rider route also heads out over the Caha Pass, through the tunnels and over the Healy Pass once, before the riders head back via a gradual descent back to Glengariff to collect their medals and a well-earned cup of tea. So the scene is set for the fabled village of Glengariff to play host to An Post Rebel Tour for the 4th consecutive year out of 7 runnings of one of Ireland's most popular bike events.
The beauty of the Beara Peninsula is fantastic, and I think when you do get a day like today, there's no better place to be. So I've really enjoyed it every time I've gone around, and you know I turn up down here by myself, but meet so many people on the road, and you know we maintain friendships throughout the year, and then catch up again when I get back here the following year. So this is probably one of the big events of the year in down here in Glengariff and out into Castletownbere and around the Beara Peninsula. You know, events like this, it's all about the build-up and the excitement leading into it, and I'm sure a lot of them were nervous yesterday when all that rain came down and worried, you know, how are we going to get on with the race again today, or the ride, not a race. But, you know, it's turned out fantastic, and, you know, I think when so many people and volunteers put in so much hard work throughout the year to make this event happen, to get a day like today and to see the crowds turning out, you know, it's just kind of a reward, I think, for all their efforts, and makes it all worthwhile for everybody.
Events like this are great kick-off events to highlight the area and to promote tourism, and we really feel that an event of this scale is very appropriate for the Ring of Beara, because it has the absolute beauty, and it has very challenging for cyclists as well. And I've no doubt they'll be sore but very satisfied by the time the day is out.
A lot of their family members would come with their cyclers to give them support and to experience the weekend away here. So we could be expecting anything up to 4,000 people to be associated with the cycle today.
We've done a bit of cycling with our own gang at home this year, and we've done the Ring of Beara, we've done the Ring of Kerry, we've done a lot of local cyclists for charities at home as well, so why not? And I think it's great as Mayor of the County of Cork to be involved in events like this, because it not only has a huge attraction to cyclists, it's all about the tourism attraction, it's all about the economic benefit that it has to West Cork and to the Cork in general, so we're very pleased to have that.
Good morning, everybody. I'm sure, like me, you're delighted to see the sunshine today. It's a total different day than it was yesterday.
There's a group of us here from Middleton Cycling Club, but there's also another group of us here from with the Port of Cork going to the cycle. So we're looking forward to a good all day. Weather's on our side, we'll give it a shot.
I'm doing the 160 with a group. Yeah, nice and easy.
This is my third year doing it. It's a great event.
The hardest part is down around the tip of the peninsula. There's short, steep hills, maybe half a k, but they're very, very steep. But other than that, it'll be okay. The Healy Pass wouldn't be the toughest of it. People are fazed by the Healy Pass, but the sharp hills down at the tip of the peninsula are the toughest of it.
I'm looking forward to the hills. They're a good test.
We're from McNally Sword Cycling Club in North County Dublin. It's a group of 5 or 6 of us here came down last night in the lashing of the rain, and this fabulous morning now to kick off for the day. Looking forward to it.
Participants in the Rebel Challenge display a variety of emotions as they contemplate the effort to come in Glengariff at the start of the 160-kilometre ride. Yesterday's rain has abated, and it's warm autumn sunshine that greets the riders as they tour out of the village with bellies full of pasta and porridge, and probably a few butterflies in there as well. More than 1,500 riders have taken up the longer Rebel Challenge, the organisers capping the maximum number of participants as, once again, demand exceeds supply for an Irish Challenge bike ride. Riders have travelled from as far away as Australia and the United States to take part in this year's event, and one intrepid groom-to-be has even journeyed from Dubai to make the Rebel Tour the centrepiece of his stag weekend. Riders of all ages and abilities have been training for months to test themselves in the company of their peers against the backdrop of Cork's sumptuous scenery on roads made famous in Post Ross and Ross Namon, and of course these roads played host to Sean Kelly, Stephen Roach and all the world's best riders in those epic Nissan Classic stage races back in the 1980s and 90s. Showing that cycling truly is a sport for all ages, there are several riders at the minimum age of 16, while Christy O'Brien from Cork has yet to miss a Rebel Tour and at 75 is the oldest rider in the field. The rolling hills in West Cork have never looked as well, illuminated in the early morning sunshine as the riders head towards the opening climb of the day. Through the tunnels into Kerry, and time for some on-bike photography. Groups are forming, breaking up and then reforming out on the road as the rugged terrain makes the selection. The local Bandon Cycling Club are riding in formation and have picked up some willing helpers for the long slog around the Beara Peninsula. The riders are close to the first food stop of the day and time to replenish energy stocks, share some tales and make some plans for the ascents of Healy Pass to come. The sense of community in County Cork is illustrated by the number of volunteers helping the riders on their way.
So exciting. Everybody's really pumped about it. The weather is fantastic, especially because we had really bad weather yesterday. So today is really sunny and hot and everybody is totally excited. They're all full of energy still at our water stop. So we're filling them with jelly beans in order to get them over the Healy Pass.
It's good. We've one pass done and 2 or 3 more to go. So yeah, it's going well.
Well, my name is Drumglavin and I'm here with Cork City Council. There's about 30 odd of us racing today. But today's going well so far anyway. The start's been a bit tricky, we're trying to pace ourselves, so that's probably the hardest part. Lovely, geez, I'm amazed compared to yesterday, but the road now it's kind of a bit wet in the shade, but where it's dry now is very good, very nice.
I've all of my friends here today, so there's 6 of us here today.
We're not our friends.
They are my friends.
Oh, I don't know, if we finish now it'll be a good place, but yeah, we're looking forward to it now and hoping for a good challenge anyway at least.
Back out on the road, bellies full once more, and there are plenty of smiles to remind us that this is truly a day to savour on the beautiful roads of County Cork. Approaching the lower slopes of the Healy Pass, the gradient starts to take effect and the groups stretch in length. This is why people come to An Post Rebel Tour year after year, the physical effort at least matched by the spiritual uplift of toiling on these unspoilt monster roads. Pausing at the top to take in the view, the riders take a quick breather as they contemplate the descent back into County Cork.
It's going great so far. We're only about 60k into it, but so far so good. Yeah, no, it's a good event. Yeah, it's very good. Probably the toughest one on the calendar, really, but yeah, it's well organised.
Going pretty good. 2 tough climbs done, so only 2 more to go.
Yeah, the only problem is we did that another time. That's the only problem.
Round 2 might be different.
Yeah, first one's only practice.
Warming up.
Welcome back to the Beara Peninsula in County Cork, where one of the biggest and toughest cycling challenges, the An Post Rebel Tour, is well underway.
I started on the 160 today, just to go out about 10 kilometres and back, so that's warmed me up. And now I'll do the 85k, I'll lead that out, and that'll be good. Nice 3 or 4 hour spin and then back home to Cork.
No, I was the ambassadors last year, so no, it was a fantastic event last year. It was my first introduction to kind of this scale, like with the organisation and just the feeling down here, you know, the local support that you get around the course is unbelievable, like, and the scenery is, you know, whatever about needing a new pair of legs or second pair of legs, you need a second pair of eyes with the scenery, but it's fantastic. It's a fantastic event.
What do I do to train? Well, this is my 4th sportive An Post that I've done this season. Usually it's about 3 times a week with a friend and up the hill at Tara. I live in County Meath.
The Rebel Tour, well, it's spectacular scenery. There's very good climbing, but doable climbing. The 160 is a killer. You do a thing called the Healy Pass twice, which is a real surprise. The only good thing about the Healy Pass is the descent on the other side. I cycle to work every day, and then each weekend I'd probably chalk up about 120 kilometres. And then I'll try and work up to 120 in a single ride before I do the 160.
That the sun will keep shining, that everyone will get home safely, and it'll be a fabulous day.
Well, of course, this is my native county, and as I always say, they know how to have fun in Cork, and it's so scenic.
Riders in the 160km Rebel Challenge are well into their epic ride as the participants for the 85km Rebel Rider route limber up and take to the road. More than 1,000 riders leave Glengariff on the Rebel Rider, heading off for the 85-kilometre challenge. Facing the ascents of Caha Pass and the daunting Healy Pass, this may be the shorter of the two main routes, but it is by no means an easy day out. The weather gods have smiled on West Cork, and the riders will soon be shedding layers of lycra as the sun shines on this ever-popular cycling event. This is the final event of 5 throughout Ireland across the cycling season in the Onpos Cycle Series, with over 17,000 entrants across all events in Sligo, Clare, Meath and Waterford, as well as this County Cork finale. Spirits are high for what will be the final big event of the year for many of the riders. The massive growth in participation levels in Irish cycling in the last 10 years is illustrated by the exponential rise in membership of Cycling Ireland. Numbers registered with the governing body have skyrocketed since the heady days of Stephen Roach and Sean Kelly in the 1980s, and it now sits at over 22,000, spread over 400 clubs, a 600% rise in the last 6 years. And that's just the licensed riders. Countless more leisure bike riders in numbers well into 6 figures have taken to the roads in recent times, encouraged by the undeniable health benefits, the social and cultural attraction, and the ease of acquiring a bike through the Bike to Work tax facility. And with scenery like this, it's little wonder. The riders on the 160-kilometre Rebel Challenge are through the southernmost part of the route near Alahis and are now heading back towards Larag and contemplating their second ascent of Healy Pass. Limbs are aching now as riders come to depend more and more on the enthusiastic encouragement from roadside spectators, and the burden is shared with their group companions. The final steep climb is a personal purgatory for many, and just another bump in the road for the gifted climbers and the well-trained endurance riders. Some of the very best bike racers in history have toiled on these roads, and Rebel Tour entrants consider it a privilege to be able to experience the playing field of the giants of the road, a pleasure denied to most other sports people. The hilly route has split most of the groups that were united at the start line, only to be rent asunder by the undulating route through Munster's jaw-dropping scenery. With the end in sight, spirits remain high, and the knowledge that the worst is behind them, riders can begin to look forward to their arrival back at their departure point in Glengariff. Back in Glengariff, the final event of the day is the always popular Rebel Pedals Family Fun cycling event, promoted this year by the Caha Centre, an opportunity for some of the younger cycling enthusiasts to show what they're made of.
I'm a volunteer helping out with the family cycle. I have, yes, this is my 4th year helping out and enjoying it immensely.
My favourite thing really is it's cycling.
No, we've done, like, I've just come back from World Championships 2 weeks ago, and I look forward to this every year. You know, the atmosphere down here is brilliant, and you know, you can see all the kids and everyone's they're just so happy to be out and be active, and it's a great excuse to get back down to this part of the world as well, because it's beautiful down here, you know. That's not an ice cream.
It's a little bit challenging for the kids because we've got every age bracket from maybe 13 down to 6, 7 years of age of every different ability. We've got guys on racing bikes and we've got people just off stabilisers, so it really is a bit of fun.
Okay, off you go, well done. Good stuff, and we'll see you back here. Be very careful on the way back. Woo!
All ages and sizes take to two wheels, and for many this will be the beginning of a lifelong love affair with the bike. One family have Junior in the Rebel Pebbles and Dad is in the Rebel Ride, both having ridden in all 5 of the Cycle Series events. Back in Glengarriff, the riders from the 85-kilometre Rebel Ride arrive back. They're followed in turn by the 160-kilometre riders, a little ragged from the rigours of the day, but to a man and a woman beaming with delight as they reflect on their accomplishment. Some head straight for food, others adopt a more black and white approach to replacing fluids and carbohydrate.
It was fantastic. It's actually my stag, so we're doing this part of a stag. Yeah. What is that? There's a whole gang was doing down for the stag, but there's only 6 of us actually did the cycle, and it was great, to be honest. I mean, we got 2 bad showers, one at the top of the Healy Pass, and one at the first water stop by the lake beyond Kenmare. But like as usual, it's brilliantly organised, great atmosphere, and a great buzz around the place. You know.
Tough slog. Healy Pass twice isn't easy. Even just heading up the Caha Pass out of just out of Glengarriff here is tough enough as well. But we stuck together, a good group of us. There was probably 20 of us rode around together, and we had a good day.
Great, apart from the hills, but it's very enjoyable.
It was brilliant. We had rain at the first half, but the second half made up for it in the hills and the chat and the other clubs and meeting and talking to them in the food stops. Brilliant, great day out, really enjoyed it.
I don't know, you feel fresh after doing 85, you know, it doesn't actually, you don't get to that point where it's really difficult. And I really enjoyed it, and definitely like to come back again.
Okay, we're here in Glengarriff, just finishing off a massive day on the Post Rebel Tour for 2015. We have maybe 2/3 to 3/4 of our riders are already back. We've had a storm yesterday. We've had a most magnificent day here on the Beara Peninsula again today, and it's been absolutely, the feedback is brilliant. The riders are all arriving in. There's a party going on behind me. They've all had a really wonderful day on the Beara Peninsula on Post Rebel Tour for 2015.